this is a country in pain. So there are a lot of Americans with chronic pain problems. And so we're addressing a very substantial unmet need. And we are a company that is focused specifically on chronic pain. And we're going at this and using multiple approaches. And so we have an injection therapy, a topical therapy, we have oral therapies, we have even other novel ways of going after pain that are earlier in development. And this is all in development still, so we don't have any approved therapies that are on the market, but we are, our platform extends from late stage to early stage, meaning that it's right on the threshold of first going into man. The problems in America right now that we hear about center on the use of opioids and the addiction problems, the diversion problems, the safety issues in terms of overdose, and this is plays to the whole problem we have with addiction, but it's also an indication of the problems of pain that people have. And so a good, important component of this to realize is that there are a lot of people suffering in pain. Having realized that, our company set about, and as we shaped our mission, we said we're going to be the non-opioid company. We're going to develop new therapies for chronic pain that help patients but without the addiction potential. So we feel very much motivated by the enormous need there is to develop therapies that are safe, non-addictive, and effective for patients' pain. So we come at this in multiple ways. So first of all, we look at what are the big pain problems. So we look at problems like osteoarthritis. We look at chronic low back pain. We even look at headache as being a pain issue. And then we look at the drugs that we have, we look at them mechanistically, and we use a bottom-up approach and a top-down approach. And our top-down approach is a big data kind of approach where we take the huge amount of scientific literature and we look at what the commercial needs are, and then thirdly, we look at what the unmet needs are, and we triangulate that to converge on where we want to move our specific product. And with each product, there's a different story to be told on how that will unfold. So for some of our products, we haven't targeted specifically whether we're going after osteoarthritis or whether we're going after another condition called painful diabetic neuropathy. And there are other conditions where we may go with some of our approaches and some of our products. But the idea here is that this is a unified approach, and the bottom line is that this is a focused approach to the problem of chronic pain. We're at the stage where we're about to launch phase 3 studies for our lead indication, and that's going for a painful foot condition that has orphan status and includes going after osteoarthritis as well. And then we have other products that are in the phase 2 level going after neuropathic pain. And then the earlier stage products haven't yet been defined in terms of what precisely will be the lead indications, and we're looking at this in terms of a number of possibilities at this point. The models that we use start with looking at models in animal studies, and we learn from that science. And turns out that animals and humans sometimes even have the same pain condition. And one particularly important novel thing that we're doing, or nearly novel, is that we're taking advantage of the fact that there are pet animals that have, in some cases, the same painful conditions that humans have. A good example of that is arthritis in the knee joint. So our pet dog friends quite often as they age get arthritis in their knee. In the dog it's called the stifle joint. And so at the same time that we're developing a drug in humans to go after osteoarthritis, we can use the same approach in companion pet dogs. And in the case of these trials, the owners learn that we're doing the trials. They realize that their dog may have arthritis, and they come to the research study site and they enroll in the clinical trials in precisely the same way that a patient may enter into a trial of a drug. And so there are some really good parallels between animal disease and human disease that we can take advantage of to the benefit of both. So capsaicin is a truly fascinating molecule, and it's one that every one of us knows, or anybody that's eaten a spicy food knows about. So we've been experimenting in a way with this molecule for probably thousands of years, and capsaicin has been discovered to have a fascinating property. So we all know about its spiciness when we eat it, and it also has the property that it can induce pain. But it turns out that that's short-lived, and then very quickly after exposure of pain fibers to the capsaicin, they actually undergo a defunctionalization that lasts for weeks to months at a time. So the aha was that we can take advantage of that property. So this is a little bit like the story with people know about Botox as a toxin that paralyzes muscle. And then it was realized, wow, this toxin works specifically on muscle, and there are therapeutic indications to apply this to treat certain diseases. Well, we realized that we could take advantage of this property of capsaicin in terms of defunctionalizing pain fibers, and that we could inject this strategically into certain areas of the body and address specific pain problems. And so that was the discovery here. And so we are following a systematic line of research, and now we're prepared to enter phase 3 studies to look for the approval of this for treatment of these conditions.
So what kind of pain is it effective on?
So the kinds of pain that are in our present development plan includes a painful foot condition called Morton's neuroma. And so Morton's neuroma is maybe known to some of the people listening, is a painful foot condition, more common in women. A typical patient might be a 50-year-old woman who can no longer wear high heels and has trouble walking on a hard surface. And the pain is located in the distal part of the foot in between the third and fourth toes. And if one palpates that area, it's exquisitely painful. And right now, if the patient doesn't respond to orthotics or other conservative techniques, the clinician may offer surgery where an incision is made, surgeon goes in and removes the nerve entirely. And what we're offering is an alternative where our drug is injected and it blocks the pain fibers for weeks to months at a time, and it does it in such a way that it doesn't interfere with the function of the nerve. So sensory function in the toes is still preserved. So if a surgeon goes in and cuts out the nerve, the toes in that area are numb forever. It's permanently numb. And the very intriguing and hopeful property of capsaicin is that when it's injected, it appears not to have any adverse effects on tactile sensations. So one can touch the toes and they feel completely normal. And so we can get rid of the pain without the morbidity of interfering with the nerve function.
Thank you so much, Dr. Campbell.
Okay, thanks, Florence.